I don't know anything about Omaha, so don't ask me what I think of them. I'm sure they're a good basketball team, because they've won their tournament, but I don't know anything about them. So we're excited to be going to Providence. It's not a long trip for us, and I know the players are all excited, the fans are excited, so it's a great opener. Outside of that, we'll start studying as soon as I leave you.
The program prides itself on being New York's team. What does it mean to finally be able to represent the program and New York City brand of basketball on the national stage?
It means quite a bit. You know, last year was, I didn't have a lot of people at the meeting. I wasn't sure we were going to go. So this year we planned the party. It was great. We thought we'd be a 2 seed. That was terrific. So we're looking forward to all of this.
With a team that doesn't have a ton of tournament experience, just how do you prepare the guys for this?
You just prepare it like you would any other game. We put a lot of pressure on them with the Marquette game, as I said earlier, and we put a lot of pressure on the guys with the Big East tournament. We played that as if it was an NCAA game. I kept telling them that. 4 minutes ago in the Marquette game, I said, all right, you're in the first round of the NCAA. It's survive and advance in these last 4 minutes. And I felt that was necessary because of their lack of playoff experience. And then we did the same thing with the Butler and Marquette and last night's game. Thank you.
Rick, you've done, you've advanced through tournaments plenty of times. Do you think that there is a certain thing about what you do when you're in the tournament that helps your teams go forward?
Well, you know, when you have a lot of experience, you learn what not to do as much as what to do. And there are a lot of things that you must understand, that you have to stay focused. This is a time of year where everybody is filling out brackets, everybody's talking about it, and you have to understand the focus of every little thing that goes into an NCAA game.
When you were formulating this roster, and obviously I guess there could be questions getting transfers on how everyone's going to mesh together and personalities jive and all that stuff, when did you know that this team was going to really mesh well and end up now being two?
I don't think I ever knew. I never really thought about it. I just kept taking it game by game, not taking anything for granted, just never knew anything about it. I watched our guys get better, the young guys get better. I watched RJ get better, but we had an incredible number of injuries, more so than a lot of teams I've ever coached. A lot of players out for the season. So we had to, on the fly, keep changing, and we were resilient. So I knew we were tough, I knew we were resilient. I did not know if we'd win the regular season and the Big East championship.
Rick, in Providence, it's you and Bill Self is going to be there, and John Calipari is going to be there. Do you think that the committee has some sort of sense of irony about putting three of the most decorated coaches together?
No, I don't think that comes into play, Roger. I really don't. Many times we have these theories about, who they match up, and they really don't do it that way. I've spoken from Dave Gavitt on. They don't ever get into that. From made-for-television theater, they just try to get the best matchups, metric-wise, of who deserves those spots. So it's really not just turns out to be that way.
To that point, though, what do you think about your region, just now that you've seen the draw?
I'm just going to focus on Omaha. I've lost in the first round before, so I'm going to just focus on that.
Rick, when you guys go to Providence, they're one of the few fan bases in the Big East that give you an applause when you get introduced. Just the fact that it's close enough for New York, St. John's fans to travel, plus the local Rhode Island fans probably going and rooting for you and rooting for St. John's. How big of a plus is that for you?
I think in the NCAA tournament, it's not much of a factor. I think now a Louisville in Lexington, because I've done that as a Louisville coach, going to Lexington where we had 12,000 people, that's a big factor. But this is not as big a factor.
Rick, do you think it's helpful that you guys have had success in that building this season?
No, I don't think it's a factor. I think you look for things like that that just don't come into play. You know, they just don't. It's nice, convenient that we only have to travel 3 hours by bus. But then if we ever advance and move on, I think we're going to San Francisco.
Rick, when it comes to preparing the players over the next few days, how much will be strategy, how much will be mentally preparing this team for what's to come on Thursday?
Well, what you do is you start getting ready with your staff, and then you try to make the changes necessary so the other team is not prepared for you. You make subtle changes, you make big changes, and then you focus on the defense of the teams you're going to play.
Rick,
Rick, you
Davon
mentioned-
got popped pretty good twice in the second half yesterday. Are you feeling?
I think it was his head, though. I don't think it was his shoulder. Yeah.
So he's still.
Rick, when you're coaching a team in the NCAA tournament, how much of the time is spent like working on the things that you guys do versus working on combating the things that your opponent is going to do?
I think you work on both. You work on what's going to be successful against their defense, what you have to stay away from because they defended very well, and then you have to take away everything that they do well. And you rely on your pressure. You rely on, if they're a great three-point shooting team, you've got to extend your defense.
Rick, you touched on it in your opening remarks, but I'm just wondering if you could take me back last year, the heartbreak that you experienced, the anger you felt somewhat towards the metrics, to this today, especially for you, RJ, Zuby, guys who were here last year and experienced that in the total dichotomy.
Well, I think what happens in any situation like that, we felt that the committee, they weren't unanimous in what metrics they used, whether it be the net or, I think this year they probably did a better job, although everybody's second guessing the North Carolina pick. We just learned from it. Were we upset? We were disappointed for the players, but we did something about it. And you can't do anything about not getting picked, but you could do something about making sure you get picked next time around.
Rick, how good is it for the league that Xavier got in and the league has 5?
Well, they deserve to get in, first of all. They're going to be a tough team to play against, certainly. So we're happy that we got 5 teams in.
Rick, with Io now becoming a key part of this team.
Who's that?
With Io,
Like-
Diku, with Diku becoming a key part of this team now, as you guys went down the stretch, and guys like Lefty and Prey getting more extended minutes now. Do you feel like going into the tournament you kind of uncovered a new layer of this team?
I think we're not afraid to put any of the guys in the game. I think I intentionally made sure they got experience in the games, the last 4 or 5 games that we played, because the NCAA, you may need them.
How does playing the Big East tournament, going the entire distance, playing in the high pressure games, how does that prepare you guys for this?
Well, we mentally said it was the first round, starting with the Marquette game. Because of the lack of experience we had, we kept talking about that. That this is the first round, this is the second round, this is the Sweet 16. And we played it that way just to get them that type of experience. But, if you're going to play in a conference tournament, and you get to the finals, you want to win it. Because if you lose it, you're tired. Our players are not tired right now; they're on a high. So you want to win that. I hate getting knocked out in the first round, which hasn't happened. Because you get knocked out in the first round, you got a whole week, and you could get stale.
Rick, the way that you do things when you've seen the selection show, like, how much time is it before people are already, like, looking at film of the first opponent, or, you're having meetings with your people about what you guys want?
We're going to start watching as soon as I leave you. In the past, I've watched a lot of games thinking of who I thought we could possibly play. Robert Morris. So I watched them play, and I did not watch Omaha, so we'll start watching as soon as I leave you.
Rick, when you watch Omaha, is there something, obviously them playing in the Summit League, can you learn something from some of their, I haven't seen the schedule, from some of their earlier games maybe against high major opponents? Is it
Well, we'll look
close
at
enough?
more their league to see. The league knows them the best, so we'll look at how the league defended them because they know them so well. And we'll see what they do.
Rick, you said you're focus has to be on Omaha. Do you worry about a guy like Zuby looking ahead to Kansas maybe in that second round?
Absolutely not.
No. And then, do you have any thoughts, just because it's so far away, you can't possibly be looking ahead to it, but any thoughts on your old star at Iona being out in Florida, your number 1 seed in the bracket?
Have you followed me at all this year?
I have.
Well,
Gotta- gotta ask.
all I keep saying is I just concern myself with the next game, and you now got me playing Florida. I hope you're right.
Thank you,
Rick,
Chris.
will you give any pointers to Richard playing Marquette?
Well, Rich and I will definitely speak.
Okay.
Okay.